Today I am addressing my engine air filters, and I'm using some factory filters here. This is the part number for the Infiniti M56 16546-30P00. It was used as early as the 300ZX, and every time I make these videos where I say that factory or OEM parts are superior to aftermarket, sometimes I feel like people maybe don't trust me or think I'm just speaking for the sake of it. I don't usually say this all the time, but sometimes it's because I've already stuck my neck out and used aftermarket products and I know how they fare on. So this right here is some aftermarket filter. I have no idea where I got it, maybe eBay, and it was advertised as being compatible with these and the 300ZX as well. And I've already done a lot of the dirty work removing the bugs. That's one of the reasons I usually like removing the whole case so I can clean it better. I was brushing it out so that the sealing surface could be good. But this one here, look at the bottom. Was this the bottom? Or was this the bottom? That was the bottom for sure though. And at the bottom, it wasn't sealing very well. And although I did not see a lot of dust going in, a lot of junk going in onto the collector side here, it did not look like there was that much of it. I mean, the seal did its part, right? The rubber seal, but there was still some stuff that made it through. I feel like the fact that this thing bowed out this much is not a good thing. Reduces your filtration capacity, you know, your filter surface area, contact area. And for as many pleats as these have, once you start compacting at the bottom, how much area do you actually have to filter? But it does catch, you know. I guess if I had time, I'd start undoing it. Another issue I used to have with that one is on one of them, yeah, this is the driver's side. I always found that the snap clamp, it escapes me, this part right here usually had jumped off a lot of times and the boxes had come out of alignment. You could usually see how thick the gap was because of the material in between, right? This is a lot thicker, and sometimes thicker is not always better. You know, when you see that, this is what the factory one looks like. It's just thick in the right places. Just the right amount of thick, right amount of give. And when you install one of these in this box right here, the box itself looks like it's got a little bit of a curve, just a little bit. But when you install, I like that it was pretty stiff. The wall is pretty stiff, so I had to kind of work it here. And then I usually do my best to leave notes whenever I address my parts. So push this in. Nice and snug. I already like the way it fits, you know. This is good. So set that over there. Then this one here, find the holes. It's interesting. I don't really have to fight it, you know. Obviously, it's awkward doing this with one hand, but things are working out. Look, everything mates where it's supposed to. Look at that. Go all the way around. It looks good. So, I can't tell you if you've got budgetary constraints and you feel like, well, you know what? I'm going to use aftermarket. So be it. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. But when it comes to something like this, it's going to be very difficult for you to convince me that it is actually better than the other one. You could say I'm doing it because it's cheaper. That's a valid argument. But to me, I say, for as often or as infrequently as you have to replace your air filters, why not just buy a better one? You're going to end up spending an extra 10 bucks or so. Look at the pleats. This, to me, this seems like those, what do they call those? High efficiency filters? I forgot what they call them. But aftermarket filters, some of them have very, very few pleats. So it's the filtration or the trapping is very little. This one here, sometimes this is what a factory one looks like. It's got so many different pleats, and at some point catching all that stuff ends up clogging it up. So sometimes I have those very, very loose filters, and those are supposed to be an upgrade. So I think the factory ones are pretty good here, and I'm going to put them back in the vehicle. Okay.